There's a neighbor, always kind, always smiling. The type of person who offers to water your plants when you're away, who greets you each morning with a warmth that almost feels too perfect. But then one day, over something small, parking space, a comment, his smile vanishes, and in its place, a storm. Words like knives, anger masked as calm control. He doesn't just get angry, he blames. He twists your words. He makes you feel like it was your fault for doubting him in the first place. Was that his true self breaking through? Or had it always been there, hidden beneath the perfectly practiced persona? Carl Jung called this the persona, a mask we wear to meet the world. It helps us function, survive, be liked. But the danger comes when we start believing we are the mask. And behind that mask, the shadow, the hidden part of us, our denied desires, our pain, our rage, our true power. We all have it. But some people spend their entire lives pretending they don't. They bury their shadow so deep that even they can't see it. And that's where danger grows. They become obsessed with being good, always agreeable, always selfless, always in control. But perfection isn't truth. It's performance. And when the shadow finally slips out, it doesn't whisper. It roars. It manipulates, punishes, because it's been denied, starved, and ignored. Section 1. Carl Jung and the persona, the mask we all wear. Carl Jung, one of the great pioneers of depth psychology, spent his life exploring what lies beneath the surface of our minds, the hidden layers of the self we rarely dare to face. He believed that we don't just live our lives, we perform them. Each day we step into roles. We wear masks. This mask he called the persona. It's the part of us we show the world, not necessarily to deceive, but to survive, to belong, to be accepted. We put it on when we enter a room, when we post online, when we answer "I'm fine," even when we're not. The persona helps us function. It smooths over the rough edges, makes us likable, presentable, safe. But the danger is, it's not who we really are. Think of the cheerful employee who always has a smile, always says yes, always stays late, but goes home and sits in the dark, feeling hollow. Or the perfect parent, always patient, always calm, always composed, who swallows their frustration like a bitter pill, day after day. Or the spiritual influencer who posts quotes about peace and forgiveness, but never admits when they're wrong, never shows their messiness, their humanity. These personas are so polished, so pristine, that they almost shine. But here's the truth. The more polished the mask, the more likely it's hiding something deeper. Section 2. The shadow, what we hide from ourselves. Beneath the polished mask we wear each day lies something older, something darker, something far more honest. Carl Jung called it the shadow. The shadow is the part of us we don't want to see. The anger we deny, the jealousy we bury, the guilt we refuse to name, the desire we pretend we've outgrown. But it's not just made of darkness. The shadow also holds forgotten strength, hidden creativity, pieces of our truth that were once rejected by others, or by ourselves. It's like a basement we never clean. First, we just avoid it. Then we forget what's even down there. But over time, it starts to rot, and the smell rises through the cracks. We try to keep it shut, pretend it's not ours, but it finds a way out. It leaks into how we talk, how we react, how we dream, passive aggression in a conversation, a sarcastic comment that cuts deeper than it should, attention that hangs even when no one says a word. Sometimes it visits us at night, through anxious dreams or nightmares, reminding us of what we haven't faced. And sometimes, without warning, the shadow takes the wheel. We explode over something small. We say things we didn't mean, but deep down we did. Jung said it clearly, and his words still echo. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. We think we're in control, but the parts of us we've buried, they move the strings, quietly, constantly. Section 3. Why good people can be the most dangerous. We've been told our whole lives that good people are the safe ones. The ones who smile, who stay calm, who never raise their voice. But sometimes, that's the most dangerous lie of all. Being good doesn't always mean being harmless. And sometimes, the person most obsessed with being kind is the one most afraid of their own darkness. They don't hurt others intentionally, but they over-identify with the role of the peaceful one, the selfless one, the enlightened one. And so they never allow themselves to feel what's real. They don't lie to others. They lie to themselves. They pretend they've outgrown anger, that they've transcended jealousy, that insecurity no longer touches them. But denial isn't purity. It's just suppression with a halo on top. And what gets repressed doesn't die. It mutates. It slips out in distorted ways. Others around them feel confused. They sense something isn't right. The kindness feels heavy. The calmness feels cold. You feel like you owe them something, but you're not sure why. You feel guilty around them, even when you've done nothing wrong. Their version of kindness starts to control. They rescue you not to help, but to keep you close. They give not freely, but so they can say, "Look how much I do for you." And when their mask cracks, even for a moment, the rage that spills out feels volcanic, because it's been building silently for years. True kindness doesn't need to suppress truth, but performative goodness, that need to always appear spiritual, calm, right, creates a ticking time bomb. And that's why the person who always smiles, who never argues, who insists they're not angry, might be the one whose shadow is the most dangerous of all. Section 4. The cost of denying the shadow. There's a person I know who always says, "I never get angry," and they believe it. They truly do. They're the first to help others. Always giving, always available, always calm. People call them selfless, spiritual, even saintly. But over time, something feels off. Their help becomes heavy. Their giving starts to feel like a silent demand. Their calmness carries a quiet tension, like standing beside a still lake hiding deep currents. You begin to feel controlled without being commanded. You feel guilt-tripped without hearing a single harsh word. Their peace is not peace. It's the armor they wear to avoid the truth of their buried emotions. And that truth, the one they don't want to feel, starts to speak in other languages, through sarcasm, through cold silences, through sudden withdrawal. Jung said it simply, "What you ignore within controls you from behind." And this denial, it doesn't just live inside one person. It seeps into their relationships. Their partner feels emotionally starved but can't explain why. Their friends feel confused, like they're always walking on eggshells. It's like trying to connect with someone who's wearing a mask made of glass. See-through, beautiful, but unbreakable. Over time, that inner denial numbs them. They smile but don't feel joy. They give but feel resentment. They speak but don't know what's true anymore. And the saddest part is, they lose their authenticity, not because they're bad, but because they traded honesty for perfection. So when someone says they're never angry, or never jealous, or always at peace, we must wonder not with judgment, but with compassion. What have they had to bury in order to seem so perfect? Section 5. The beginning of true self-awareness. The shadow. It's not some evil force lurking in the dark corners of your soul. It's not a demon to be cast out. It's not your enemy. It's human, deeply human. It's the wounded child inside you who was told to be quiet. The one who cried too much, felt too deeply or needed too much, and learned that being too much was unsafe. It's the artist who wasn't allowed to speak. The voice that trembled when it tried to tell the truth. The raw spark of emotion that didn't fit the rules. This is not the part of you to banish. It's the part of you that needs your love the most. So I ask you, with no rush to answer, what part of yourself do you keep hidden from the world? What do you fear others might reject if they saw it fully? And look closely at others. What traits make you uncomfortable in them? What behavior triggers you? What do you silently judge? Because often, the shadow reveals itself in our reactions. What we dislike in others may be exactly what we've been told we're not allowed to be. So begin here, not with fixing, not with changing, but with noticing. Observe the patterns that repeat, the emotional loops, the recurring pain, the stories you tell yourself again and again. Start writing them down, especially the things you judge, about others and yourself. Not to blame, but to understand. Ask someone you trust, someone who sees you clearly, what do you think I don't see about myself? And when you see those cracks, the mess, the flaws, the rawness, don't flinch, don't run. Practice compassion. Speak to yourself the way you would to a child who just wanted to be loved. Because healing doesn't begin with perfection. It begins with presence, with staying, with looking gently at the thing you used to turn away from. Remember this truth whispered across time. You can't heal what you don't allow yourself to see. Section 6. Wisdom lies in wholeness, not perfection. We spend so much of our lives reaching for the light, chasing goodness, clarity, peace, always trying to be better, brighter, kinder. But the wisdom that truly grounds us doesn't come from light alone. Carl Jung understood this deeper truth, that real integrity is not about being only good or only calm. It's about wholeness. It's about welcoming the parts of us we once silenced. When we can hold both our joy and our grief, our tenderness and our rage, our strength and our doubt, when we stop pretending to be only one thing, that's when we become trustworthy, real, grounded in something unshakable. Think of a tree. It doesn't stretch toward the sky just because of the sun. The strength, its height, its wisdom, they all depend on the roots it sinks deep into the dark, unseen earth. That dark earth, the hidden, quiet, uncomfortable parts of our being. That's where we draw the strength to stand tall when the winds of life shake us. We all wear masks, every one of us. Masks of politeness, masks of strength, masks of always being okay. And that's okay. That's human. But healing begins the moment we take one of those masks off. Even just a little, even just with someone safe, even just with ourselves. In that tiny act of honesty, of removing the mask, we step into a truth that doesn't need to be perfect. Just whole, just real, just alive. Because wholeness isn't about becoming something new. It's about finally returning to all that you already are, without shame. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't need to shine all the time to be worthy of love. You just have to be real. And being real means allowing both your joy and your pain, your hope and your fear, your light and your darkness. If you've been wearing a mask for too long, if you've smiled when your heart was aching or said, "I'm fine," when you weren't, maybe today is the day to set it down. Just for a moment, just enough to breathe, just enough to be honest with yourself. That's where healing begins. Not in perfection, but in truth. And if this message touched something tender inside you, then maybe share it with someone who's been hiding behind their smile too. Because sometimes, all we need is a soft voice to remind us that we're not alone in this. That behind every smile, there's a story. Behind every silence, a soul waiting to be seen. If you're ready to go deeper, into the soul, into the psyche, into the quiet places most people avoid, then subscribe. Let's explore one layer at a time. The more clearly we see ourselves, not just the pretty parts, but all of us, the more compassion we naturally have for others. And maybe, just maybe, that's how real peace begins. Not by escaping the darkness, but by learning to sit with it and love ourselves there too.